Imagine a building that's supposed to be the ultimate symbol of justice. A place where laws are upheld and everything is set right. Now picture that same building sitting there, unfinished for years, and it's become the main piece of evidence in a huge criminal investigation. Yeah, that's the wild story we're getting into today.
It's a heck of a question, right? It's the central puzzle of this whole thing. How did a project that started with so much promise go so incredibly wrong? So let's dive in and try to figure out exactly what went down with the Kohima High Court.
So we're kicking things off with the investigation, which really has put the courthouse itself on trial. This isn't some small-time case either. It's pulled in India's top anti-corruption agencies. We're talking the Enforcement Directorate, the ED, and the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI. And their main focus? A courthouse that's been under construction for almost 20 years. And just look at this timeline. The road to justice here has been unbelievably long. The whole thing started way back in 2007. Then, it took a whopping 12 years before the CBI even officially opened an investigation in 2019. Now, here we are in 2024, and the ED is finally filing its case. That's almost 2 decades of delays, questions, and a whole lot of suspicion.
To really get why this is such a massive deal, we've got to rewind to the very beginning. We need to understand what this building was supposed to mean for the state of Nagaland.
See, before this whole project started, Nagaland didn't have its own separate high court. It was served by a branch of the Gauhati High Court. This new building, it was supposed to change everything. It was a huge move toward judicial independence and really beefing up the rule of law in the state. It was a project that was, born out of hope.
And you can tell just how important this was by who showed up for the groundbreaking. The foundation stone was laid by the highest judge in the entire country, the Chief Justice of India, standing right there with the state's chief minister. This wasn't just another construction job, it was supposed to be a landmark moment, full of promise.
But, well, that promise soured. Let's get to the heart of the case now and see what the investigators actually found. According to the Enforcement Directorate, this wasn't just some poor planning. It was an alleged criminal conspiracy.
The ED's investigation paints a pretty damning picture. They are alleging there was a criminal conspiracy between officials in Nagaland's Public Works Department and some private contractors. The plan, investigators say, was to jack up the costs on purpose, deliver really shoddy work, and in the process just pocket huge amounts of public money.
So, where did all the money go? The ED breaks it down. First up, they allege an extra payment of over 80 lakh rupees was made just for building retaining walls.
And then, they point to another nearly 30 lakh rupees in extra payments, this time for something as simple as roads and footpaths. As you can see, the numbers just start to pile up. And when you add it all up, the ED estimates the proceeds of crime, that's the amount they believe was siphoned off, comes out to about 1.09 crore rupees. Just to be clear, that's over 10 million rupees of taxpayer money that investigators believe was straight up stolen. And the ED isn't being shy. They've named names. Their official complaint lists several people and one company: Avituo Sekhose, a firm called MS Hexad Syndicate, Thepfusatuo Rio, Mhalelio Rio, and Vibeilietuo Kets, plus several officials from the Public Works Department who haven't been named publicly. Okay, so you've got a list of suspects, you've got a pile of evidence. You think this would be a pretty clear path to the courtroom for everybody involved. But this is where the story takes a really sharp and frankly very controversial turn. And this is the key question that just complicates everything. If they have all these charges, why was one group of the accused basically untouchable? The answer is buried in a really powerful legal shield. It all comes down to this legal term, prosecution sanction. Basically, in India, if you want to prosecute a government employee for something they did as part of their job, you first need to get official permission from the government they work for. It's supposed to be a way to protect officials from endless, flimsy lawsuits.
So here's the kicker. When the CBI went to the Nagaland government and asked for that permission to prosecute its own Public Works Department officials, the state government said no. It just flat out denied the sanction.
So this creates this incredible split. On one side, you have the private contractors. They were charged and told they had to face a criminal trial. But on the other side, you have the government officials. They're alleged partners in crime, and they were shielded from the exact same trial because their boss, the state government, refused to give the green light. So you might be thinking, okay, why should I care about an unfinished courthouse in Nagaland? Well, because this case touches on some really fundamental issues that honestly affect every single one of us. This is about our money, taxpayer money,
that's allegedly being misused. It brings up massive questions about accountability in government. I mean, who holds public officials responsible? It really damages the integrity of a huge constitutional institution, the judiciary. And maybe most importantly, it challenges the basic idea that the law is supposed to apply to everyone equally.
And this story is not over, not by a long shot. In a pretty wild twist, the Guwahati High Court is now openly questioning the CBI, basically asking them, hey, why didn't you challenge the state government's decision to block the prosecution? So now the judiciary is putting the investigators themselves under a microscope. Which brings us to our final big lingering question. This whole project started back in 2007. The crimes we're talking about happened years ago. So why, after all this time, is this case suddenly blowing up in public? Is it a real push for justice, finally? Or are there other things going on behind the scenes? Well, I guess only time will tell.